What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more INXS. And I'd like to start by giving a big apology to Nikita. I had talked to him recently and mentioned my plan was to do an INXS reaction this last Sunday. When I do reaction batches, I have pieces of paper, little scraps of paper, and I just write down handwritten deep dives I intend on getting to in that batch, and I often change them in the moment. I remember other groups that have been on for even longer, or something makes me think of another group and I just end up doing that even though it wasn't part of the original plan. Semi-randomness is very much part of it. But INXS was on the sheet for Sunday, and for some reason I just didn't get to it. I didn't see it, because the note sheets tend to be a bit, erratic, and sometimes I cross things out, or they're written on different parts of the page. So bottom line, I meant to get to this on Sunday and I didn't, so we're doing it now. And also shout out to Yvonne, who provided a greatest hits compilation. There's still, I think, a couple tracks on there from material that I haven't yet reacted to. Nevertheless, I did say that my plan was to start X, and so we are going to move to X and keep those remaining tracks on the greatest hits compilation in mind. In any case, the point is we're moving to this 1990 album. Thank you again to Nikita for the material. And the opening tune is Suicide Blonde, which is a bit of a dramatic phrase. I don't know if I've heard this phrase specifically, but using suicide in conjunction with, in this case, I think, a female hair color. I suppose men are blonde too, but typically when you refer to a blonde as a common noun, you are referring to a female blonde, so that's my thought here. And suicide blonde, I could see it on either ends of a spectrum, meaning I could see it being someone who engages in self-destructive behavior, perhaps because they're a bit wild or out of control, but also maybe on the other end of it, that someone who would get involved with the suicide blonde would basically be committing suicide because of, psycho-emotional danger, or because they are a bit out of control and they'll draw you into that. It might have nothing to do with either of those interpretations. I will try to catch what I can on a first listen. Let's hear it. This is INXS, the opening tune on their 1990 album X, and it is Suicide Blonde.
Like a cheap distraction from evil fear. She never finished before it began. Lost the plan. You wanna make her suicide blonde. Love devastation, suicide blonde. You wanna make her suicide blonde. Love devastation, suicide blonde. Strip to me. Close that on, while out in the world, you can't see a thing. Such a squeeze, a mad sad moment. Glory to you, take me there. Oh. Love
line right here. At first I thought it was like love temptation, then I thought it was like love devastation. I don't think it's either of those things. I was really trying to figure out, it's just like a couple word phrase, maybe a few words in a phrase, but I really couldn't crack that one, and it seems like a crucial detail of the song. Nevertheless, I did hear some other lines like it's over before it's begun, and it does seem like on some level this is a danger. This is a woman who, it seems like the narrator, it's not even so much about him, it's like he's telling other people. I think there's like a general description here and a bit of prescriptive advice. Maybe I'm wrong. But yes, a suicide blonde, I think, almost surely is referring to a woman, and one who, you may be inclined to get involved with, but if you do, it'll be a whirlwind, it'll be over before you even actually begin it in any meaningful sense, and you'll be the one who will be destroyed, the one who will be suicided, so to speak. So maybe I'm mishearing that, but yeah, there were a couple lines where it was like, wait, if I could just crack what he's saying here. Nevertheless, yeah, I feel like the meaning is somewhere in the realm of, again, like a general description, unless like the narrator is the one who went through this, although I suppose it could be like he did go through it and that's why he knows and is trying to warn other people. Then again, maybe I'm completely off with all of it. I will say sonically, I like that a lot. There's a real, it's like a bit country, like that's a small element, but it feels a bit kind of country. Definitely it's got some of that blues flavor again, and I don't even know, like there's brass in there certainly, but that long like trill style flourish that came in a couple times, which really like kept going and kept going. It was like, is that a brass instrument or multiple brass instrument? Is that just a keyboard line, maybe in a brass kit? But definitely there was a blues country sort of feel to the sonics, and yet it still had a bit of that like synth rock or like new wave, which I get it. In 1990, I know no one's using the phrase new wave anymore, but it definitely had a bit of that like 80s synth rock sound to it. So yeah, somewhere in the blues country rock with a bit of a new wave vibe, which, I'm not sure if there's a Venn diagram there that fits all of those, but that's kind of how I took it. I do very much enjoy the vocals. There were a couple moments where part of the reason where I wasn't hearing things clearly is they were sort of like echoed or kind of beneath the rest of the sonics, but definitely a dynamic tune, a very energetic opener. I am keen to hear, to the degree that I have a handle on a couple of the earlier albums or the material that we've gone through, which admittedly was one proper album and then a selection of tunes, and also again one or two other tracks that are still waiting from the 80s. But yes, definitely keen to hear evolution or continuity, probably both. Again, a lot of groups, as they continue to put out more material over time, there are aspects that are very much hallmarks of their sound, and yet some of them do change things or try different styles, and so there's also evolution in addition to continuity. So that's what I'll be looking out for. Once again, thank you to Nikita. Thank you again to Yvonne as well. Let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.